everybody, it's Brock and we got a brand new episode of All About. Happy 4th of July weekend to everybody. Hope y'all have a wonderful weekend with family, out in the pool, having a good old time. Today we are learning all about the fuzzy dwarf lionfish, or as other people like to call them, the shortfin lionfish, or even the dwarf lionfish as simple. These guys are awesome to have in the aquarium. Prices on them, you'll normally spend about 60 bucks to get one of these. Tank size, you need about a 55 gallon. That'll give them plenty of room to run back and forth in the tank and have plenty of room to swim around. Care level, it is moderate, and that mainly comes from getting them to eat. They can be very stingy when first introduced into a new tank, so I'll show you a couple ways we can try to get them to eat quick. That way you're not having to stress them out. Temper, they are semi-aggressive. They are still a lionfish, so they are a predatory fish. So you just want to make sure the fish that are in the tank with them will get along just fine. Reef compatibility, it's with caution. The main reason for this is because they will eat smaller fish and shrimp and any other little inverts they can get in their mouth. And they'll also perch sometimes, so if they start laying on your coral's not going to like it. It's not that they're eating your coral, but they can get on top of it. But other than that, you can keep them in a reef tank, but your limitations on what kind of fish and stuff you can keep in the tank is very limited if you get one of these. Basic rule of thumb with these lionfish is if it can fit in its mouth, it's very likely that he will eat it. Temperature, you want to keep it 72 to 78. You know, I always like to keep it right on 78. DKH, 8 to 12. pH, 8.1 to 8.4. And your salinity 1.020 to 1.025. Max size, they can get about 7 inches, so that's a pretty good size lionfish. It does take a little while. The nice thing is whenever you get them small, they're really tiny, so you can have them in that smaller kind of aquariums, and you don't need some massive tank to take care of these guys. Colors on them, so they have a dark red, almost maroon color, and white stripes running all up and down their body. They're like a really pretty zebra. It's a very nice fish in your tank. Diet, so they are a carnivore. This is really what comes into play on trying to keep these guys very healthy and happy in the aquarium. Shrimp from the grocery store is always a really good one to get. Little frozen packs of shrimp, not seasoned, nothing crazy like that, just some raw basic shrimp. They'll love that. Let it thaw out and you can put it in the tank and he'll chase after it. Clams are another really good one. Clams on a half shell, you can just scoop the clam out of there. They'll eat that. And then also silver sides are another popular one that people will feed. They can cut up those and feed it to them. Now at the beginning, they might not be enticed by this just dead food floating in the tank for them to eat. So a lot of times you might need to give them some feeder shrimp at the very beginning, like some little ghost shrimp. They'll drop down in there, they'll be bouncing around all crazy, and it'll really entice them to go and chase after that. So once they actually start eating those, continually try to feed in between doing that, shrimp from the grocery store, whatever it might be, and just put it on a little skewer and kind of bounce it around the tank, and he'll eventually start to see that as food that he wants to eat, and he'll get used to eating that. Origin, they do come from Indonesia. Compatibility, just ask. If you do want multiple of them in a tank, you definitely can. You just want to make sure they're getting plenty to eat and they have plenty of room to swim around in. With other fish, like I said, rule of thumb, if it can fit in his mouth, it's probably not a good idea to get it. He's not a fish that's going to chase after any fish, though. He's not like territorial over anything. So if you got tangs, angels in there with them, they'll do just fine. And he also does good in predator tanks. So if you got triggers and puffers in there, they'll do just fine together. Venomous, so yes, those top spines on him hold the venom. They can stab you. So please be careful when being in the tank and when handling them. They can get you and it feels like a very painful bee sting. So be as careful as possible whenever handling these, and especially whenever you go into your tank to clean. Make sure you see where he is and you go on the opposite side to do your thing. For your live rock, you really want to have an open tank, but still with places to hide in, caves and kind of over arches that hang over. As he gets acclimated into the tank, he'll tend to hide up in those caves and kind of just poke around and then swim out and then go back to the cave. So they have a really good personality. Eventually, as they get used to the tank, they'll start to recognize you whenever you come up to the tank, and they'll come up and meet you, knowing there's food going to be involved soon. So they're very nice to have, but it's definitely good to give them a good rock structure that they can hide in, but also have plenty of room to swim around because they are a very open water swimmer. Other than that, that pretty much hits on everything you need to know to take care of the fuzzy dwarf lionfish. Just a real quick guide to see if you can have them in your tank. If you want some more specific questions to ask, please leave them down in the comments or reach out to me on social media. I'll be glad to help you. If you're kind of curious if you could put them with the current fish you have, or if you have a big enough tank, please let me know. I'll be glad to help y'all. Make sure to like and subscribe. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see y'all later.